Hi, everybody. I'm just doing a test broadcast, uh, preparing for the rollout of GOPscorecard.com on the 1st at 2 o'clock. And I'm using Restream, which allows me to stream on about 8 different platforms at once. I've only got 5 connected, but I'm still going to do a test. So I did test broadcast on Spaces and um Facebook this morning, 2 separate ones. Not going to repeat the whole thing. Really, I just want to make sure this thing is going out. Excuse me, over the various platforms. So at 2 o'clock on January 1st, we're going to roll out GOP scorecard for 2023, the first ever evaluation of the Republican Party since it was founded in 1856 as a big government progressive party. It has been a big government progressive party with really the exception of about 8, kind of a fluky set of years. After World War I, government's always going to shrink after a world war. It's only been 2 of them. It always shrinks regardless. But Harding Coolidge did a reasonably decent job of restraining government growth. Maybe they cut, maybe they didn't. It's kind of hard to, scientifically determine that. But they were relatively good. We can all agree on that. That's not a matter of science, that's a fact. They were relatively good. But basically, every other Republican president has kind of sucked in terms of making government smaller. Reagan didn't make government smaller, he made government bigger. You can argue about that, but it's not going to be very pretty. He certainly didn't shrink government. Maybe he kept it the same size. There's a lot of you know, confounding factors like inflation and population growth and blah, 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 blah. So, just real quick, since this is just a test, at 2 o'clock, we're going to go live on Facebook and a few other sites. At 3 o'clock, I'm going to go to Spaces on Twitter with a separate broadcast. So, we're going to do a short kind of a prepared statement that introduces the whole concept of the scorecard, why we're doing it. That's going to be maybe 5 minutes max. Then we'll go into the scorecard. The GOP got an F. No big surprise here for 2023, even though they control the House and have some influence in the Senate due to the filibuster power and other powers that the minority has. Government got a lot bigger this year. Then we'll talk about the history of the GOP from 1856 through the present. I'm one of the few people who's read the 1856 platform of the Republican Party. Then we're going to talk about why why the GOP fails to shrink government. We're going to talk about the massive failure of the conservative movement, which was born in 1964, basically, and has failed ever since. Total colossal failure. We're going to talk about why voting is a scam. We're going to talk about what the Republican Party would say as their excuses for their failure and why they don't, why those excuses aren't valid. And then we'll talk about some of the methodological issues like inflation and population growth that we'll have to factor into future scores, but we're not going to do that this time around. And then we'll have open discussion and questions. And then at 3, we'll shift over to Spaces on Twitter, X. And I've had a rough start there. I can't seem to get any momentum going, but I'm going to keep doing it until I succeed. I will succeed at some point. So again, join us at 2 o'clock on January 1st. I'd like to get 10,000 viewers, for a site that has totally original content that you can't find anywhere else. Prepared and spoken and researched by the most experienced political operative in the liberty movement. That's a fact. That's not my opinion. I think I deserve to have at least 10,000 views on January 1st. Between your hangover recovery time and the beginning of the football game at 5, look, we all know, I know, you're not doing a fucking thing at 2 o'clock on January 1st. You might be having maybe you're at some boring relative, party or visit. You can grab the phone and grab the laptop and check out the broadcast for at least 5 or 10 minutes, share it around, like it, whatever, and then check it out later when you have more time to watch the whole thing. So that's about it. Jim Ostrowski for the Sitting for Liberty. I hate sitting on my butt doing a podcast, but this is just a test. So we'll see you at 2 o'clock and then 3 o'clock on January 1st. So how do I terminate this?